How's it going, everyone? My name is I Am Monstrum, and I'm from Team Rankstar. And today we're going to do a quick deck tech on a deck that, as soon as the new set was spoiled, I kind of wanted to update an older deck made by Isomorphic called Five Stages of Destiny, um, and kind of update it with some of the new cards from the new set and in general just kind of do some adjusting, change some numbers, etc, etc. And so I think so far I've actually got a pretty solid deck list right now. It might need some improvement as metagame changes, and there might be a little bit of changes here and there, but overall I really like this deck a lot. So first off, one of the big things in the new set is the addition of the black market. And the sweet thing about the black market means that I can bring a lot of different. There's a lot more variety to cards that I can take out of my market, because out of the black market I can pull out double factions of fire or justice, which is super handy. So in my market right now, I've got Boar. Boar, it's kind of an obvious no-brain pick. If you're playing something that can fetch it, like a merchant that can fetch it, you play Boar. Hashtag nerf Boar. Another card I put in the market is Combust, just because we've got a lot of revenge units, and it kills anything. Also, who doesn't like the premium look to it? But overall, it's also just a super cheap spell that you can like merchant for and use right away. Because one of the issues that this deck can run into are just like kind of like big Aegis units or just really fat units that you can't push through, and so Combust deals with that pretty handily. Also in the market, I've got Vanquish. Again, just deals really easily with bigger units. Um, Inquisitor Macto is in this deck because I wanted something in the market that was a threat, and also because its revenge never ends. It means that all my recursion and all my buffs to it just keeps coming back. And so as long as you kind of play around, if your opponent has any silence effects, if you can play around the silence effects as much as possible, and you can get Inquisitor Macto to like stay for long, like you're gonna eventually just win the game. And it's just a super solid card, so it's a good thing to have a threat in the market. So I put that in there. And then in the original version of the deck, it had 4 harsh rules and 1 into the story in the main. But to make this market a black market, I had to do some rearranging of the cards. And so I moved into the story from the main deck to the market. And it has worked pretty well. I honestly haven't, in the games I've played with this deck so far, I haven't actually had to fetch it. But it's always nice having that available in your market, though, because if it is needed, like, you want it right away. And board wipe effects like this really don't affect you that much, but it can sometimes just wipe out your opponent, and then you can just sweep up what's remaining. So I'm just going to quickly go through some of the units. Obviously, Piercing Grief, just a solid unit, especially when you pair it with things like Paladin Oathbook, and then being able to grab it back with like Display of Ambition, Dark Return, cards like that. It can be really handy to be able to, like if this unit already has Destiny, when you draw it, like with Dark Return, it actually comes back and is immediately played, and you draw another card. So essentially, if it already has Destiny, you're basically playing the unit for free, and then you're drawing a card. So it's really a lot of value. And this is the Red Canyon Smuggler. This is the black market merchant for this set, and this merchant has worked out really well for me. Its ability with double damage, as well as just being able to grab stuff from the market, is super handy. But the double damage actually is quite relevant, because when you have double damage stacked with things like Paladin Oathbook, it gets out of hand really quick, and it makes that card a must answer from your opponent. So I really like that addition. Stonepowder Alchemist, again, just clearly just great value, and it has Revenge, and it has a lot of lifesteal, so it helps kind of deal with the more aggressive decks that try to get under you. And then got Whirling Duo. It's just a charged lifesteal unit, and like, what more could you ask for? Paladin Oathbook is just a great card because every time you attack, like, you want to be attacking all the time, and it just buffs your Piercing Greaves and your Stonepowder Alchemist, so when they come back, they still have that buff attached to them, and it just creates bigger and more powerful cards as the game goes on. And sometimes you can end up having just, and if you have like multiple Paladin Oathbooks on the battlefield at once, you can have a giant, create some really giant units really quick from that. So obviously went with 4 Dark Returns. Dark Return just works so well with all your Revenge units. 4 Torch, I mean, it's Torch. Like, Torch is really good. Can't really go without it. A new card from the set, I put in 2 Winchest Cargos. So some people might be like, oh my god, you're only playing with 2? Why not the full playset? Well, when I was building this deck, or kind of like updating this deck from Isomorphics version, his version, or their version, has played with a lot more power. And so I think right now, the way the game is, if you're playing more than 25 power, you're 95% of the time making a mistake. So what I did is, in working out the power base, I wanted to have an effect to kind of deal with being able to make sure you hit your influence requirements. And this card allows you to do that. And in the late game, because you really don't want more than like 5 or 6 power, it immediately will transmute if you have the influence requirements. And then you have a free, you have a better card than a Seek Power, essentially, in this deck. And so it's worked out really well. I've really enjoyed it. I've used it primarily actually to just draw the sigils, but the ability to transmute it and turn into a contraband is really huge. Just extra value. The one of Annihilate. Annihilate's pretty good because it just deals with a lot of things like Talut, Sandstorm Titan, Vara, all those kind of cards. And also, in the original deck had 2, so I just cut it down to 1. Because from the new set, we have Display of Ambition. And so one of the abilities of this display is it can kill an enemy unit with 5 health or more. And so that basically just replaces what Annihilate is trying to do anyway, and it hits more units than Annihilate does. So I basically just took out one of the Annihilates for an Ambition, because I originally was thinking about playing just 3, but I just switched out an Annihilate for the 4th Display of Ambition. And now the biggest reason why I want to be playing Display of Ambition in this particular version of the deck, especially after I'd already was kind of thinking about when it was first spoiled, but then it kind of got brought back into my memory when I was listening to the Seek Power podcast and the From the Void podcast, and they both kind of mentioned it. And so it kind of like reinforced that I really want to be looking at building something like this. And being able to draw 2 units from your Void and take 2 damage is huge. The previous version of this deck was playing cards like Smuggler Stash, which drew 2 units from your Void, but it cost 6, and it was a slow spell. So this card being a fast spell and it being able to draw 2 units at instant speed is amazing. And the 2 damage really is not going to matter because most units have lifesteal, and usually most games turn out where that's never ever going to really come up to matter. But this card is super, super powerful. It's amazing. And occasionally, sometimes the being able to give your units a permanent +1 attack and overwhelm can also come in super handy, especially if you have like a super buffed up Smuggler with double damage and they just keep chump blocking. Well, if you give the unit overwhelm, then they can't chump block anymore. And you can do that at instant speed, which is super nice. Cull the deck is just a simple draw spell, gets through your deck, super solid. Quarry, again, it's card selection, and then also you can take advantage of the cards that you discard because you do have things like Dark Return and Display of Ambition. There's also 3 Rise to the Challenge. A lot of the time you just honestly want to use this for when you have a unit in your deck that has Destiny. If you use Rise to the Challenge, you can rise for the unit that has Destiny, and then it immediately plays it, and you get to draw a card. So that's what I've used it primarily for. I have, of course, occasionally used it to grab a black market merchant in certain situations where that was handy, or a Whirling Duo. It's just a jack of all trades, and it's just super solid in this deck. Then there's 4 harsh rules. You just want sweeper effects because it deals with all the big mid-range or other decks that can kind of go over you. But because most of your units have revenge, you don't care about wiping your board, but your opponent does. The power base is fairly similar to what Isomorphic had. I did change it up to being only 25 power. I kind of switched up some of the numbers here and there. Not massively, I just mainly cut more than anything. And I used Shiftstone's power calculator to just kind of make sure that I'm hitting my influence requirements properly. But yeah, so hopefully I kind of went over the deck well. And hopefully you really enjoy this deck. I'm going to play 1 game with it and kind of show you what it's about. And yeah, we'll go from there. Hey everybody. I just wanted to take a moment and tell you about our premier sponsor, Inked Gaming. If you're not familiar with Inked Gaming, their tagline is "Your game, your style." And there really is not a better way to describe what they do. If you're a tabletop gamer or a PC gamer, and they have everything to let you show off your own brand. You can create customized playmats, playmat bags, mouse pads, and way more. You can also shop for items inspired by your favorite traditional and video game scenes, characters, and even memes. They have hundreds of pre-generated designs, and they have the ability to create custom designs to fit you perfectly. You can use the code TRS12 so you can get 12% off your final amount at checkout. So do it your way. Do it with Inked Gaming. Your game, your style. Alright, so we're playing in our match for the deck tech. And so here's our opening hand. We've got all the influence, and we've got a Winchest cargo. And we've got a couple Crest here. Oathbook, or Paladin, Oathbook, Stonepowder, Alchemist. And one of the new merchants, the Red Canyon Smuggler, the black market merchant. So I think this is a fine hand. We are on the draw. So hopefully they don't have like a super fast start or something like that. But we do have Stonepowder Alchemist here, which will help us get out of there. Out of a bad situation like that. But looks like we're probably playing against a slower deck of some sort. Rise to the Challenge. I don't think we really need it right now. I'd rather actually have a power. So ooh. So this is a new card, Hojan Crownbreaker. Pretty big empower threat here. I'd really like to be able to get down a threat this turn, but alas. Next turn, though, we can play Stonepowder Alchemist, so I'm not too worried. And we'll definitely leave Torch on top. That definitely sounds excellent in a situation like this. This is one thing that's kind of wild when you're playing like in a brand new format, is that there's a lot of like cards that you haven't seen before, and you're not exactly sure like what's happening or not happening, so... We'll go ahead and start with Stonepowder Alchemist. They could have a torch for it. Looks like they do. But that's fine, because if they want to torch it, that's fine, because it gets rid of a torch out of their hand, and it's just going to come back. So, they torch, not too worried. The Empower, making it a 2-power 4/3, is pretty good. Oh, good lord. They're buffing all the units here. Yeah, I'm definitely just going to block here. And then, hopefully we can start grabbing some more power. Yep, just like that. So that way we can just harsh rule this board away. And it doesn't matter which influence we have because we have a Crest here, so it just wants to be undepleted for next turn. And I'll keep a Black Market Merchant on top. That seems fine. And we'll actually just go ahead and play Oathbook.
Speak your oath.
Because I'm not really wanting to advance my board further right now anyway. And I'm hoping they kind of push forward, start playing out more units, so that way this harsh rule will be way more effective. Even still, I'll probably still just harsh rule this board regardless, but... Okay, so they have a Finest Hour too? Dang.
A fine battle.
Yeah, that's a pretty, pretty big attack there. Oof. Yep, I'm definitely harsh ruling. I definitely can't deal with the 6/7 double damage. Good Lord have mercy. Yeah, this is the easiest harsh rule in my life.
This ends
They still have a good chance of having a lot more threats, so...
Finest weapons in Myria.
It'll be kind of interesting to see what they have in their market as well. Oh, snap. Warhelm? Alright, so that was really good for them. Luckily, I do get to gain some life back with the Whirling Duo. So I think we're actually coming back now. We're still in not the best place, but I think overall we are in a pretty decent place. So now I gotta figure out, do I want to use the market right now or not? I think I do. I think I go ahead and grab a Mokdo, just because it's a big threat. And we'll go ahead and Quarry this turn. Ooh, another Whirling Duo? Okay. I'm definitely okay with that. More lifesteal, the better. Alright, yeah, I'm pretty sure we've stabilized now, because we've got blockers, we've got some lifesteal. Ooh, Deep Forge Plate. That's quite good. Yeah, we just have to take it here. Oof, that is, that actually is pretty annoying. So we could grab Boar and get rid of it that way. Which I think is a pretty good way to deal with it. And this way I can start attacking again, gain some more health as well. And now we have plenty of blockers as well, so yep. Alright, well, we got there. We were barely able to stabilize, but the lifesteal and the ability to harsh rule your board and not care about it is huge in matchups like this. So definitely recommend this deck. I have a lot of fun with it. It may not be, the top tier deck of all time, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. It gains a lot of things from cards like the display cycle in this deck works really well, as well as the cargo it's just a really fantastic a bunch of additions to this deck. Definitely makes it better, and I'm having a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend giving it a go, see what you think. But it's been a lot of fun. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment. Please leave any constructive feedback if you have any. Feedback in general is okay, but preferably let's be constructive. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time.